Hey, everybody out there in listener land. You are listening to GZ23 with DJ D Phoenix, the man with the mask. He will set things to rights for you.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good. Where are you right now?
I'm in Malaga, Spain. It's
Oh,
on
wow.
the southern coast of Spain, across from Morocco.
Wow. Okay. That's right.
Yeah.
Because you
It's beautiful.
didn't you say there was like an 8-hour difference between us or something like that?
Nine. So it's 10:30 here and 1:30 your time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. First of all, it's great to see you.
Great to see you too. You look all clean cut and spiffy.
I know. Well, it's a holiday, you know. Wink, wink. So.
Whatever.
Whenever you're ready.
Wishing you the best during the winter season from GZ23.
Just like that. Rock star you are.
And not offending anyone?
I know.
Winter, huh? I was gonna say solstice, and I was like, no, that's gonna piss someone off if I say solstice.
I know. You know, I think we're having to like dig into our thesauruses more on a daily basis to get words that's, you know, are comparable.
Right.
You know, in fact, actually, it's funny because I was just looking up other words for holiday and for Christmas.
Okay.
God, and there's Christmas time. That was its alternative. Like that still says Christmas. And I think that it's sad that we have to like watch what we say that closely. Good grief. I know. You know, I was thinking about, actually, let me do a quick lead in. That would be fun because then we could actually have a conversation. Hey guys, you're watching the Groove Zones GZ23, the holiday edition. This is Holidazed and 22. I'm DJ D Phoenix, coming to you live from Olympia, Washington. However, I'm hanging today with a friend of mine who isn't in Washington. He's from here, but he's actually in Spain today. And this is CONRAD ASKLAND of CIRQUE DU SOLEIL. CONRAD, hello.
Hello.
Oh my God.
Great to meet everyone. Well, no, I guess I'm not going to meet everyone.
Well,
but if I could see everyone, it would be great to meet everyone.
Well, I can do little hand puppets, and then that way it looks like there's a larger audience here.
Okay, that's great. I love that.
Cool. Well, first of all, happy holidays.
Happy, merry holidays.
Right. Oh, I know there was one. Prismo. Prismo is one of the words for Christmas.
Oh, that just feels wrong.
But I don't even know what it is, though.
Prismo. Yeah.
Who came up with that?
It sounds like it might be something bad that takes batteries. I don't know.
I don't know. Let's post it on Facebook and see what the fact checkers say.
Okay.
Anyway, well, yeah, no, the best of the holidays to you. So you are in Spain.
Yeah, I'm in Malaga, Spain right now.
Okay.
Working with CIRQUE DU SOLEIL on the show Crystal. It's their ice skating show, and we're on a world tour currently going through Europe.
Wow, cool. Are you closer to the beginning, the middle, or the end of the tour at this point? Like how much more?
Well, so we go, the show runs indefinitely.
Right.
Until it closes. So we're on our European leg about 1/3 of the way through. The European legs end in April, and then we go to Australia and New Zealand.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You've got to be stoked. What a fun. I mean, I know that there's work involved, but what a fun position, though.
The great thing of it, so the arena tours, it's a lot of work, and normally you're traveling to a new city every week. But if you love to travel, I mean, oh, geez, it's just awesome. It's just awesome.
Now, this is the third. Am I right? This is the third Cirque du Soleil production you've been a part of.
Sure. So yeah, I've been the band leader, the music director for their show ZAIA, which was a resident show in Macau, China. And then I was band leader, music director for the arena tour of VAREKAI.
Right.
And now I'm on my third show, Crystal.
How cool. And you said, so it's an ice skating kind of based or a theme then?
Yeah, it's their only ice skating show. This was a new thing for Cirque, to do an ice skating show. And it's just an absolutely beautiful show. And of course, my heart always stops because all the tricks they're doing, they're doing it on ice, obviously. It's an ice skating show. So,
really? So it's so it's like the Cirque then that we're kind of all familiar with like with the acrobatics and all that, but just transferred onto ice.
Correct. So half of the artists are ice skaters that then they train to do tricks, and the others are gymnasts that learn to skate. So combining all these people, it's a combination of world-class ice skating and the traditional Cirque du Soleil acts.
How cool.
Yeah.
And Crystal, even before the holidays, I mean, Crystal like brings to mind, I picture like a lot of blues and whites and that kind of like color scheme.
Hey, have you seen the logo for the show? Because that's exactly what it is. It's those blue hues that you might see, shimmering from glaciers, and the set is blue, and exactly.
No, actually, I never got like a sneak preview, so that was just totally from here, if you can believe that or not.
You have great instinct.
Thank God I'm not colorblind. That'll be next year. Cool. So,
I was just thinking, if you were colorblind, you'd be like, oh, so it's like white and then black. Yeah, that wouldn't work very well, would it?
A lot of grays.
Right.
No, and that's not to knock anybody that is colorblind. Don't get me wrong. So what's the atmosphere like where you're at then? Is it? I'm imagining that it's got to be like totally festive. Partially because the holidays are here, but second of all, just because the Cirque just has this image of being like this totally like magical experience, whether you're sitting in the audience or you're working on the production.
So we've already done in this part of our European tour, we've already done France and Germany, and now we're in Spain. And in Spain, Christmas and the Day of the Three Kings, which comes after Christmas, is huge. And it's very popular in Spain. So our audiences, we're getting about 5,000 people per show, and they are.
Hey guys, this is Trent Kelly of the Wave Show, the voice of Vashon, Washington, and you guys really need to check out GZ23. It's really cool stuff, and you got to be in the know.
Awesome. I don't know what we're pointing at, but rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
We're getting about 5,000 people per show, and they are crazy. I mean, crazy in all the good ways. They're clapping and they're very loud. Like it's a fiesta. They're ready for a party. And our show is very family oriented, so a lot of people bring their children too, particularly to our show. So you hear the thunderous applause, and then you hear all these giggles from the kids, and it's a really cool environment.
How cool. What, like on average, what's the amount of people that are hired, whether it be production and performers, but what's the average like staff? How many are there of you guys when you're traveling like this?
So for most shows, there's roughly, on the touring shows, roughly about 100. Wow. So we have 44 artists that perform on the stage. And then, another 60 of the tech people, the people that do, the flying, the carpentry, the wardrobe team, and then, of course, the office support team, catering, all of that. So about 100. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. What a massive undertaking, but what a blast.
My mind boggles sometimes when I try to think of the logistics that are involved behind the scenes. Because, like, for us, I just show up and, my instruments, my computers are set up, and when we're done, we get on the bus and we just go to the next town. And but to set all that up is just massive.
No doubt. Well, partially that's because you living the life of a rock star. Yeah, you aren't supposed to do anything other than step off of the plane into the awaiting limo, and from the awaiting limo into the thing to usher you into your motel room. I think. Well,
no. It's not that. We're getting, after we finish the show at midnight Saturday, we're getting out at 8 o'clock Sunday morning, packing our suitcases in a rush, and yeah, it's not quite the limos and the the brown M&Ms out of the bowl. It's not quite that.
We've got the stale Starburst underneath the seats. That's what we've got.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, too funny.
Norway. We're all over the place until the beginning of April, and back to Germany.
Oh my gosh! Now you've been able to do a lot of traveling with CIRQUE since you've been with them.
And even before, I've always worked as a performing musician, so I've done a lot of traveling.
Right. So are you like revisiting places then that you've been before then, or?
Sometimes, I spent a summer in Spain when I was 12, not performing, but just visiting a family. VAREKAI, we were in Spain for 6 weeks back in 2017. Wow. France, so this was cool. We performed in France a couple months ago. We were in Montpellier, France. In 2017 with VAREKAI, I performed there in Lyon.
Okay.
When I was 13 years old, I went to France with the Northwest Boy Choir. I was in the Northwest Boy Choir, and we sang at the cathedral at Notre Dame, in Chartres. I don't know if I'm saying that right, Chartres.
Okay.
So it was actually my third time, if I count that as being a boy soprano performing in cathedrals. It was actually my third time performing in France.
Oh my gosh, how totally cool is that? So you were like 13 then, you said, the first time that you were there?
Yeah, with the Northwest Boy Choir.
Okay.
We performed in England, Wales, the Netherlands, and France.
Wow. It's funny though, because you were so, for those of you that may not remember, it's been a while since Conrad's been on the show, but and I think there might be a bit of a write-up in the website, but Conrad and I met each other through the nightclubs in Seattle. I guess City Beat was an all-age nightclub, wasn't it? Or at least 18 and over.
Yeah, City Beat, but in the monastery.
Were those all-age nightclubs? Those weren't all-age nightclubs.
Yeah. Well, I guess technically they were all age, but if someone in their mid-20s walked in, that would be creepy.
Right.
So my memory is everyone was like 18, 19, 20, or 16 with fake ID.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks, George Freeman.
Or 16 with fake ID.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks, George Freeman. We totally appreciate your contributions to the nightclub scene. Anyway, the reason why I brought that up is because when we first met, that was totally the heyday, that peak period of the new wave scene, before the new wave scene kind of started to trickle off later in the 80s. But I remember though, almost right off the bat when you and I first met, music came up. Not just the music we were listening to, but actually you producing music and starting to create some of your own. So this is something that you've done for an awful long time.
Yeah, so when I met you, details are real hazy, but there was this studio in Seattle, and I played keyboards, and we were doing trades. I played keyboards on tracks for them, and then they gave me free studio time.
Oh, wow.
And then I was just, well, you remember some of the stuff. I was just recording kind of bizarre, experimental, industrial, kind of new wave stuff.
Corazon Chanson.
Corazon Chanson, yes. Yeah.
I love it. I totally love it. And one of these days, if you ever run across a copy, I want to hear it again and see if it, because I'll bet you anything that and it has. It's been a couple of weeks since you first showed or shared that with me. But I would imagine though that it's going to bring back all these memories. And you're right. If I remember right, it had a real almost Art of Noise flavor to it.
I was really into the Art of Noise at that time. Yes, it did. Yeah.
Right. Well, and at that point in time, I think, isn't that when I think Paranoia was out?
Yes.
Kiss with Tom Jones, and Legs, because Legs or Legacy was the one track that City Beat played an awful lot.
So I actually did run across a cassette tape of those 4 songs. And I don't know if you remember a song, Carry On, Little Brother, Carry On.
Oh my gosh. My God.
And that was actually for you, if you remember.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I actually found the cassette tape that had all these songs, and I listened to it, and I was, because last year during the pandemic, I released a lot of my older recordings from the 90s.
Right.
Just for something to do with videos. They're on my YouTube channel. And so I was listening to this thinking, oh, should I release this? And, I just can't make myself do it because there are words in those songs that just would offend too many people. No F-bombs or things like that, but just, right. I was doing things, it was kind of a religious commentary that I think a lot of people take as very harsh. And I just thought, I just don't want to deal with this blowback. I don't gain anything.
Right.
But I do have a cassette somewhere around back at home in Mount Vernon.
Oh my gosh, Conrad, that totally reminds me of that whole period of time, because I remember your term of endearment for me was little brother at that
yes.
point in time, which was funny because I think we're really, really close in age. So it might have been because you were taller than me, possibly, because you were a little bit. Do you remember coming to Olympia?
Yes.
Okay.
I loved the scene up there. So I didn't get up there very often, but I loved the scene up there.
You came into Olympia one of the nights that there was an event that we were DJing at Gesco. It was actually the club that the whole K Records music scene, kind of an off branch of Sub Pop. That was that whole group of artists that came out of that. But I remember it, and I think it was a summer night. CONRAD ASKLAND popped down to see me and my friends, and it was such a cool thing because I always got a kick out of it when my city friends came down to this small town of Oli. And so to have you down was totally look at, yeah, anyway.
Well, I went to college at Pacific Lutheran University
in Tacoma
before we met. So I was a little familiar with the scene. It didn't feel small town to me. I just thought it was cool.
Well, and I think...
Hi, this is Stephen Rabo, trapped somewhere in the Sleaze district of Florida, wishing you and your loved ones merry, happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. I'll say that again. Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and many, 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 many more to come.
Cool.
Well, and I think actually, if I remember right too, the one night in particular that I'm remembering, it was actually pretty poppin'. It was a really good turnout of people. So if I was going to have my hometown have this any kind of feel that I wanted to show off, that would have been the kind of night that I would want because the scene was really going at that point. These days, although I have noticed that actually there is at least in Olympia, there's a new punk rock movement happening, which is kind of cool to see. And I'm talking full on old 80s kind of looking, punk rock new wave kids hanging out on the corners, and I'm more power to you.
Well, I think it's awesome to be subversive. but you always got to find a new way to do it, and that's up to the newer generations to figure out their form of punk, right?
Right, exactly. I think as long as we pass that baton off and say, okay, here you go ahead and run with it.
I like the idea that as we get older, we pass the baton, but the truth is, it's just taken from us. We like to think we're passing it, but they take it. That's the way it should be.
And here we are, that generation, that we had the punk rock and the new wave that was so rebellious and so, whether not necessarily anti-government, although that was kind of punk rock, but just rebellious, cutting edge. We're going to do something just for the shock factor. We took it away from the people from the 60s and 70s, and we're like, we're all that. And now these, this new generation comes through, and they're like, what are you talking about? And I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel just a little bit, I wouldn't say geriatric, but definitely quote unquote old school.
So I notice that, I always work as a music director, and the casts for most of the shows I work with are usually in their 20s. And this isn't just for CIRQUE, this is also, in musical theater.
Right.
And I found the references that I do now, someone will have to translate. I'll be like, oh, this song, and I'm thinking, it's a song everyone knows, and someone's like, oh, he means Justin Bieber's, da-da-da. Or I'll talk to the guitar player, like, can you get that sound, from the Munsters? And someone will be like, oh, he means, like, they don't know what the Munsters is. And I'm never gonna refer to Gilligan's Island again, because no one knows what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh.
So that's where I notice it. My references have to be translated.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious, because I'm in the exact same boat. I had that happen here just a couple of days ago. That's like, I'm using things that these people have absolutely not a clue what I'm talking about. And it's like, oh my gosh. What was it? It was like Three's Company or some weird random show came up. It's just like, wow, these people really have no idea what I'm talking about. And I was
and we're like, oh, remember when the show changed when Suzanne Summers wasn't on it? And they're like,
oh no, I know.
So you know what we sound like? I don't know if you remember when you were a kid, but you would hear your grandparents say things like, now Benny Goodman, here's a real musician. That Elvis came along and ruined everything. The Talkies, they really ruined cinematography. That's what we sound like.
I know. Oh my gosh. I'd say that anybody that ever actually had their hands in the day on a cassette tape and a cassette recorder to do the mixtape for someone, probably not a real good chicken. No doubt. Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, here, listen, like I said, I know that you put some fire, so I don't want to thank you so much. Before we go, what would you like to pass on to people watching? Keeping in mind that it's a Christmas show, but it doesn't have to be so. So what would you want the world to say?
Oh, you know what? Don't underestimate the toll the pandemic had on all of us. Be kind to yourself. Especially through the holidays. Don't be too hard on yourself. I know a lot of people have a hard time, but just be kind to yourself. That's all.
Okay. Awesome. Just out of curiosity, whether this would end up on the show or not, but I'm just curious.